What's up, SYTRUS producers, and welcome to a new tutorial on my channel. As you have seen in the title, this one will be about creating psytrance snares. I know that I have covered this topic before on my channel, but since then my quality has improved a lot as a music producer and as a sound designer, so I thought I will cover this topic again in high quality. As you can see here, I prepared a little example, and I suggest that we are going to listen to this, and after this I will explain you how I did this snare. So in case you are really new to music production and don't have a clue what's going on, the snare element is this element that plays on every other beat. And this should be obvious information. So this is the snare patch inside SYTRUS. In case you don't have a clue about SYTRUS, I really recommend watching a video on this. It's a really powerful synthesizer, but many people are afraid of this matrix. Yeah, our snare consists of 3 elements. The first one is the click layer. Basically, this simulates the moment when the stick touches the membrane of the snare. The second one is the punch, which is basically a tom or a kick in modern snares and gives tonality to the sound. And the third one is the tail, and this is this sound that you hear, like the typical snare sound. I will try to recreate this one, and for this I will first load another instance of SYTRUS. Gotta rename this real quick. And set this to the default preset. So in the default preset, you will just have a sine wave that's playing. And the first thing that you should do is enable high quality envelopes and make sure that the oversampling rates in draft and render are the same. This makes sure that your snare doesn't sound different while exported, and we need the high quality envelopes since we have really short time intervals at some point, and this makes sure that the envelopes are precise in these cases. So I suggest that we start with the click layer. For this, we're going to need operator 1 and 2. First, go to your sample library, or you can even use if else samples, and search for samples that have a high noise. In case you don't have any samples for whatever reason, you can even record some noise and then use little snippets from that. So I'm just gonna use this symbol sample, load it into Edison, and then choose like an excerpt of it that basically resamples noise. So this one here has a lot of information, and just drag and drop this into to the little square here where the waveform is displayed in the operator. Do the same with operator 2. You can basically use the same waveform here, but I like to use a different excerpt like this. The next step, turn down the frequency ratios and turn up the frequency offset by about 10 to 15 on every operator. And now modulate the first operator with a second, so turn up this knob, and now you have like this. Basically is white noise with a little frequency modulation, as you can hear. And the thing that is very special about this is that it does not play randomized frequency like actual white noise, but a defined frequency. So whenever you hit the note, it's always the same sound. Since we're not using the frequency ratio, but the frequency offset, doesn't matter which note you play, it will always play the same audio signal. To make this a click, we have to create a really short volume envelope. So go to the first operator, there, the volume tab, enable the envelope, set the decay all the way up to the left, so we have like 0 attack, and the sustain pretty close to the attack point all the way to 0, like here. And if you want, you can delete the release point, since we're not going to use this. So now our click sounds like this. And in my opinion, this still sounds too much like a hi-hat. To change this, I reduce the frequency offset here. And here again. This sounds really good in my opinion. So this is just experimenting and finding out. If you can't get a nice click, you have to choose another excerpt with less information. So we use like this. And if it's too much noise and you can't get like a sample that doesn't sound like a hi-hat, no matter how low this frequency offset is, just choose a shorter excerpt, especially for operator 2. Now you can hear that it sounds a bit more chemical and less like a hat. Yeah, I think this sounds really good for a click. And now we're going to continue with the next element, which will be the punch. For this layer, we are going to need one operator. So the next one available is operator 3, and we're just going to lead this out through the master without any filtering or FMing. And here we are basically doing or starting the same way as we did before. We're going to use any sample. Now it doesn't matter if it has noise or not. And again, search for a little excerpt, but this time make sure that you not try to find any noise and try not to get like high information. But choose a really minimalist excerpt, like something like this, which is very clear. Also drag and drop it here. And for creating the punch layer, I will deactivate the click. So right now this is just a tone playing. And since we want to customize this tone later and make it fit with our root note of the track, we're not going to use the frequency offset, but the frequency ratio. So you can keep this at 2. Since the punch is basically a tom or a kick drum excerpt, or it has elements of these, we're going to need a pitch envelope. So turn the pitch envelope all the way up, go through the pitch tab here, and create a really short downfall of the pitch from all the way up to all the way down. So basically the same as this volume envelope, but with a little more time. So maybe something like this. Make sure to enable the tempo here. I think that's really useful to know that where this sustain point is right now, there's precisely 1/16th note. So when we play the punch layer, it sounds like this. Oh wait, I just saw that I created a volume envelope We're going to need this too, but I actually wanted to show you the pitch envelope. So doing the same here again. Just for demonstration purposes, I will deactivate the volume envelope. So now our punch sounds like this. In my opinion, it sounds way too chemical, not suitable for a snare. So I'm going to reduce the highest frequency, starting off like here, a little bit above like 50%, so the main pitch. I make this curve even steeper. Sounds like a good punch. Now I add the volume envelope again, that we don't have this low end, or not so much low end. And from here, it's just playing around and finding out with these envelopes. So this is really a matter of taste and a matter of the case and the surrounding elements like the kick and the bass and stuff. If you want more tonality to your snare, you can take this point and type in a certain value, which is 0.125. Since we have the pitch envelope all the way up, this basically resamples exactly 1 octave. So as you can hear, there's a little bit more tonality there. And together with our click layer, it sounds like this. I'm going to make the click a little bit quieter since I think it's too strong. This sounds really good in my opinion. So now we're getting to the last and most prominent element of the snare, which is the tail. For this, we're going to use a fourth operator and a filter. So I will lead the fourth operator through the filter. And here we are going to use actual when randomized white noise. To achieve this, just turn this lever all the way up. If we play this layer solo now, it sounds like this. So it's basically just filtered noise. Make sure to make this a high pass filter, since SYTRUS snares often use a lot of high information and less low information like other snares do. And because I think that this sounds a little bit, I don't know, bad and crispy, I like to enable the wave shaping, like distortion. Now I think it sounds a little bit, I don't know, smoother maybe, and not that crispy and pixely maybe. I don't know how to describe this sound. This is without the wave shaping, and this is with the wave shaping. It does also add a little bit of low end. I know this contradicts what I said before, but I don't know, like this sound more. Now we're shaping the volume of this, but since we have this wave shaping on, and the volume envelope comes like after the wave shaping, it makes it difficult to get a precise envelope, and so we are guiding the filter 1 through filter 2 before we're going out. To achieve this, just turn up this next knob here, turn down the volume that goes out, and instead turn up the filter 2 volume here. So basically, operator 4 goes into filter 1. Filter 1 processes the signal and goes into filter 2, and from there it goes out. And here we want to create our, like in filter 2, we want to create our volume envelope. Yeah, so we're starting at like 60% volume, then going real quick to 100%. And then all the way to 0. Here make also sure that you have the tempo activated, since our snare should not be longer than 3 30-second notes. So like 16th and a bit. Why is our envelope shaped like this? So in the beginning we have the click and the punch playing, and to make these elements have more prominence, we're going to reduce the volume of the noise here and play the noise shortly after. So just the noise sounds like this now. I forgot to take the highs back in, so the filter is by default a low pass filter with 50% frequency. Just turn it all the way up and you have all your high frequencies again. Also make sure that you don't have any release time, so make this one and delete the release. You can also make this your decay point and put your attack here. Doesn't really matter, but I don't know, I just like it this way. So to shape the tonality of the noise, we're going back to filter 1 and altering our high pass filter. What I like to do is to first make this high quality and then use a 24 dB per octave filter, so the ×2 option here, and turn up the resonance for about like 15 to 20%, like this. Sometimes I go even higher with the resonance. Sometimes I don't even use it at all. It's really case specific. And then it's just playing around with the cutoff. Most of the times, something between 40 and 60% or 70% sounds really good. And now let's listen to it together with our click and our punch. I think there's still too much low into it, so I'm going to reduce the length of the volume envelope in operator 3 to like a 30-second note. Definitely sounds better. From here, it's basically just playing around. The things that you should mix down properly to get right level to each other is, of course, the 3 elements and the cutoff filter of the first filter that is high passed and basically gives the tonality of the noise. To get this 100% right, you have to listen to your snare with the kick and the bass and all the other elements of your groove. And here we get back to the point where I said that in operator 3, where you create your punch, you should not use the frequency offset, but the frequency, what was it called? Frequency ratio, so that we basically have tonality. When you create your MIDI pattern, make it on the 2 and on the 4, as I said earlier. And now for the tone, choose basically the root note of your track. In my case, this is F, as you can see here. So we'll also create our snare at F5. Now it sounds like this. I think I'm gonna add more wave shaping to it. And I think it's way too loud. So let's listen to this with the kick and the bass. And this sounds like this. I think that it's a little bit too long, so I'm just gonna reduce the length of this envelope. I think this sounds really nice, but that's just a matter of taste. I would not recommend, as I said before, to put this all the way down, since then you have too many lows. Let's listen to it with open and closed hi-hat. I think that really sounds good. And to give it like the final touch, we're going to need the processing, which follows now. If you followed along my tutorial, your pattern and the VST instrument in your channel should already be linked. However, they do not have the same name since we initialized it. So just gonna rename it that we know where our snare is, and it's here. I typically only boost my snare with an equalizer and maybe an instance of Maximus, but I don't do this all the time. But the equalizer is a must. I use parametric equalizer too. You can use anything similar like Fab Filter, EQ3. No, it's called Pro Q3. Never mind. I like to use it in linear phase, but for the snare, as it consists of a lot of noise, it doesn't really matter. First, I'm going to listen to the snare without the beat, and then after that with a beat to like fine adjust it. And equalizing, there's no right or wrong. There's no like overall tutorial I could give you, since this is really specific for the case you're working on and really specific for your personal taste. So I will just play around with the equalizer until I get a nice sound, and then I'll be back. So here I am again, and I'm done equalizing and fine adjusting it. I played a little bit with the filter, which you may have seen, and I also altered the volume of this, but I think it's back. Yeah, it's back on default. And yeah, my equalizer looks like this, so not so much done. With all elements, it sounds like this. Sorry, forgot the hi-hats and the hi-hats basically. As you can hear, it has a lot of high end, and it's not like very dubby and does not have much tonality like dubstep snares, for example, have. If you want, you can layer this with a clap. This is what I see in most tutorials, but I won't be making a tutorial on how to create clap samples, since I simply don't know how clap samples are created, but probably it's pretty much the same, since it's also a lot of noise. Yeah, our snare sounds like this without all the processing. And to show you how important the punch and the click are, I'm gonna deactivate these. So this is just the noise. This is with the click, which you can barely hear. And this is with the punch. So let's have a listen all together. So this is it for today. I hope you learned something. I hope you were able to gather some information. And if you want to stay up to date about further tutorials, about upcoming gigs and upcoming releases from me, make sure to follow my Insta, which is down in the description, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. And yeah, spread it if you know people who want to produce psytrance or music in general. I hope that you have a pleasant day, night, morning, or whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.